Okay, so something funny happened just a little while ago. I went online to check my channel and I saw that it had just reached 300, which, 300. I mean, come on, we've got the immortals now. And I'd already thought to myself that whoever the 300th person to subscribe to the channel was going to be, I was going to offer them to send them a book or either the Kindle or the paper version. So there's a lady called Michelle Den. I also left a little comment on her YouTube channel, which has got about 100 subscribers or so. Anyway, so Michelle Den, if you want the Believe book, let me know and I'll send it to you either by post if you want, or I can get a Kindle if you give me. I think you just need the email. I'm not sure. I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, so I was pretty, happy. It's like, hey, I finally hit the 300 number. And then all of a sudden it became, I think it's close to 400 now. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And some guy told me that Owen had finally reached read my letter. I'd sent him a book and a letter and he read that. And he was very, very kind. He spoke very well about me actually, which I didn't know that him and Vox had talked about me for some or whatever. Anyway, that's very cool. So thank you, Owen, and thank you, Bears, and all the other people that have joined. There was one little gamma in Owen's channel that got all upset. James M, who's a liar, who I've banned from my channel because he's stupid and a liar. So. And he was quite upset about the fact that Owen gave me some props and that the Bears, the Bears have known me for a while. There's a couple of good Bears, like Mama Bear sent me a lot of really cool information, which I will be using, and I will be crediting her in an upcoming documentary, which another Bear is going to help me put together. So, this has all been happening in the background a little bit. So it's all going pretty quick, pretty well, but, my thinking, I'll do a little video when I hit 300 just to, thank the 300, as in Leonidas, there's 300. Well, they're now 400, so that's cool, And yeah, just a couple of quick points. So the last video I did yesterday or whenever it was, about, stand up for your belief, your faith, and so on, and be strong in it. There was one particular commenter who is banned and he shall never comment again on my channel, but a liar. I had the first absolute liar, somebody who's intentionally trying to deceive, trying to obfuscate the truth, just outright lying. And I've responded to their comment just because I wanted to expose him. And that's an answer. So the guy who wrote the lie, I think is called I'm bored again or something like that, or yawn, I'm bored again, yawn, bored again, something like that. That's his name. So if you look in the comments to my response to his lies, that is how you deal with liars. That is how you deal with people who pretend that the Bergoglian Novus Ordo Church is Catholic. Don't mince your words. Don't speak in halves. Know your stuff. Read up the Vatican II documents so you know it's heresy, so you understand it's heresy. If you can afford it, spend the $80, buy the canon law, read it. Buy the Catechism of Trent, read it. The canon law of Pio Benedictine canon law, you can only get hard copy. But you can get the Catechism of Trent on a Kindle version, it's pretty cheap. And you can get the Vatican II documents online, and if you go to canon188.com, you can see there, in the About page, the links to the discussion on Canon 188, and you can see the link to a brief discourse of the main heresies of the Vatican II documents. And there's also a link to the guys I got baptized with who have various articles, one of them being a criticism of a Novus Ordo Mass. So, when somebody's trying to subvert and lie and pretend and use sophistry to try and pretend that Vatican II is not heretic and that you're a schismatic, metaphorically punch them in the face. Be like Saint Nicholas. No, you're the heretic. You're the liar. Fuck off. You don't have to explain anything. You know, there's no point in trying to engage with these people, and you shouldn't want to engage with them. Reject them outright, give them no quarter. That's how you deal with social justice warriors. That's how you deal with liars. It's the same. They're one and the same. They're liars. And the only way to deal with liars is with forthright truth. Unflinching forthright truth. And you don't even have to make sense. They don't. So why give them the courtesy of an argument? They don't give you that courtesy. You think they play fair? No. So why should you? Just tell them to fuck off and don't darken your doorway again. They're evil liars. That's it. So anybody that tries to tell you that Bergoglio is the Pope, or that the Catholic priests are validly ordained when they believe in Vatican II, they're not. They're heretics and they've vacated their office. End of. That's it. They have no more right to perform the Mass than an Aborigine from Australia, or somebody from the lost tribes of the Amazon. They're not validly ordained. They do not hold office validly, and as such, they're to be ignored. They're imposters, frauds, conmen, predatory homosexuals, and pederasts. That's what they are, and that's what they do. I mean, you think what, that it's a coincidence that there's like homosexual orgies fueled by cocaine and twinks probably in the Vatican? This has been reported in mainstream newspapers. It's not like it's a secret. The Vatican is a bathhouse, and Bergoglio is its king. And he has protected pedophiles at every turn, viciously protected disgusting human beings that abuse children. And Bergoglio has put them in position of power and protected pedophiles at every turn. He has dismantled what was left of the church. Now there are a lot of cradle Catholics and lazy people, lazy boomers, lazy people that allowed, the silence allowed the Vatican to the Vatican II documents to infiltrate, instead of going up in arms and burning all the people that were involved at the stake, which is what they should have done. They let it happen. So now we've got to reclaim territory. But there's a lot of Catholics out there that don't know the story. They don't know the truth. They're deceived. They're deceived because they're lazy. They're ignorant. They haven't taken the time to research the stuff. It's true that they're lazy, but that's our job. Our job is to catechize. Our job is to teach them. That's why I'm doing these videos too. Spread them around. There's an extra 100 people watching this stuff now, so share the videos, put them on social media, give likes, put them wherever you want. That's how you spread the word. And remember, there's a lot of new people here, so I'm just going to recap a little bit. If you want to understand the stuff about the church, my videos are all numbered. Look at video number 1 and 2. They're not chronologically, but you just look for the titles, look for the number. Number 1 and 2 are about the church. Number 3 is about the real moon landings, what happened there. And, I've made other videos. I think it's 26 about the flame wars, about the Protestantism and that stuff. And the video I did yesterday, this one, Catholicism through Christianity, that's going to be a recurring theme. So if you stick around long enough, you'll eventually see my take on things. And tomorrow, with any luck, if we're lucky, we'll manage to do another little brief interview with Dave again, my friend Dave. And what we wanted to do with that one, because in the one I just did, number 40, I think it is, I discussed there how, reject all the heretics, call the Protestants out on their nonsense. And as far as I'm concerned, it's get Catholic or go home, However, I also said I do respect the Orthodox because they were there from the beginning. And I do also respect the outliers, non-denominational, Protestant originating weirdos like my friend Jay, who's a barefoot, illiterate, Baptist, as all Baptists are, illiterate and barefoot. And he doesn't know the Bible because it doesn't have pictures, but he's my good friend, and he will call me papist scum, and he will make fun about the hats, and I will just say that the reason that he can't wear shoes is because shoelaces are too complicated for Baptists. But he's my good friend. He is a Christian, and he will spend a long time in purgatory, of course, because he's wrong. But you know, there are real Christians out there. So again, three-dimensional thinking. I've got a video on 3D thinking versus 2D thinking. Look at it. Otherwise you won't understand what I'm saying. You'll think I'm crazy or whatever. I'm not crazy. I've got a high IQ, and sometimes I skip steps, not intentionally, but I don't always know what it is that the average person can't see that's obvious to me. And that's not bragging. It's, you know, it's been something that's been quite unpleasant in my own life in many ways. So, you know, it's I'm not telling you that to tell you, oh, you're too stupid to understand. Yes, you know, if you want to call it bluntly what it is, yeah, you're kind of too stupid to understand some of the stuff I say sometimes. But that's also because I don't know what it is that is not clear to you sometimes. So, you know, if you ask the question respectfully, and, you know, I'll do my best to answer it, as people that have been here have noticed. If, however, you assume that you're, you know, smarter than me or as smart as me when you're clearly not, or that you start talking out your ass when you don't know what you're talking about, then you just get banned, because I have no truck with gamma stuff. I don't want to deal with it. It's a waste of time and it's irrelevant. So, and of course they always keep trying to come back, and if they can't come back here because they're banned, they'll try and go elsewhere, and I don't care. You know, I don't do this for money, I do it for fun. So the other thing that was a question that I think got asked was, one was how you respond to, you know, the fake Catholics and so on, and the other one was, well, you know, what to do and how do I find a proper church and so on. I've put some links in the footnotes of video number 40, where there is, I think it's called SGG something, I can't remember. But anyway, there's a link in the notes of my last video of a place. One of the guys there is the guy who wrote one of the extensive notes on why Canon 188.4 proves that there are a lot of invalid, you know, fake priests in the supposed Catholic Church, but really the Novus Ordo Church. And he was a priest that wrote that, so, you know, it gives you a solid theological background. Oh, and yeah, sorry. So tomorrow with Dave, the reason we wanted to have a little short interview is to show, you know, what I told Dave is like, listen, pick a topic that you're comfortable, that you want to, you know, we're going to have an argument, you know, we're going to have a fight, but actually we're going to have an argument. So he's going to come up with something of why he thinks, you know, Roman Catholicism is inferior to Orthodoxy. I will respond. If it's a subject I know something about, you know, I'm no theologian, but I'll do my best with what I know. If I don't know something, I'll just say I don't know. But and then you'll see how two people who have slightly different views on Christianity, because he's Orthodox and I'm Catholic, nevertheless, we can take the piss, we can, you know, even insult each other because we're friends, and it doesn't matter, because ultimately, you know, Dave is a Christian and I'm a Christian. The thing is, the way, you know, this is another question I got asked. What do you think is the best way to reconcile, you know, Protestantism, Orthodoxy, and Catholicism? And my reply was, I don't think Protestantism can or should be reconciled. Protestants are people who are too lazy or too indoctrinated to read the history of the church. Just read the history of the church and you can't be a Protestant anymore. Read the patristic fathers and you can't be a Protestant anymore. Understand who created Protestantism and why, and you can't be a Protestant anymore if you're honest. Okay, you can twist your brain around all sorts of ways, and you can say that the King James Bible is just how Jesus spoke it in proper English, but, you know, you can say whatever, anybody can say anything, it doesn't make it true. So I think it's Catholicism or Orthodoxy. As far as reconciling those two, I don't believe they can be reconciled, because there are some very old guys with long beards on one side and some clean-shaven old guys on the other side that will argue to the death about the filioque. Most people watching this video don't even know what the filioque is. I can barely explain what the filioque is, and I'm not even going to try. So my suggestion And I think, I might be wrong, but I believe that the Catholic Church pretty much has this view, which is you Orthodox are wrong because, you know, you are wrong. We are better. We know more. We're better. We're just better than you. And we're better Christians. And you are wrong. However, we recognize that your sacraments are valid, although, you know, they're inferior and you kind of got it wrong. But we pray and hope for your souls that you will, after your time in purgatory, nevertheless join us in heaven. And you're not that far wrong. At least you're not Protestant scum. So, you know, you've got a chance of entering heaven. Although, you know, really you should become Catholic, and that would be the best thing for you. And if I were Orthodox, I would say exactly the same words, replacing Catholics where I said Orthodox. So, and I expect Dave would be very much saying the same. So, you know, you Catholics are wrong, but the fact is you were there from the beginning as well, and now you went off the trail. You know, you kind of off into the boondocks out there, but, you know, you're not too far from us, and if you grew your beard out and, you know, came and joined us and started to speak Slavonic instead of Latin, you'd be closer to God. That's basically it, right? The reality is not a single one of us is 100% correct. And I don't care enough to argue between Catholicism and Protestant and Orthodoxy. They were both there from the start. The split happened after 1,054 years, I believe. And the split happened because of 3 bishops that had no authority and a pissed off emperor. The 3 bishops excommunicated the emperor, which they had no authority to do, and the emperor excommunicated the 3 bishops, which he similarly had no authority to do because the bishops had no authority to excommunicate him. And then after that, it's like a long distance relationship, you know? You kind of want to stick together, but, you know, they're kind of far away and they piss you off and they still keep sticking to their story and, you know. But in reality, in lay terms, there's very little difference. And I see an appeal to both Orthodoxy and Catholicism. I chose Catholicism because I believe it is far more structured. It has a lot more logical thought behind it. There has been a lot more doctors of the church that were Catholic. Thomas Aquinas, which is a brilliant philosopher. You know, many patristic fathers were all Catholics. A lot of them. And saints. And the Catholic Church has a historically very powerful, very strong warrior ethic. You know, Catholicism essentially invented science. Catholicism protected Christendom from the Saracens on many occasions, much more so than the Eastern Church did. And, you know, for all of those reasons, you know, now the Catholic Church has been subverted and completely converged since 1958. But there is a lot of lost sheep out there. There's a lot of lost nominal Catholics that don't understand why they're very confused. They don't understand why Bergoglio is such a pervert, and they don't understand why Ratzinger gave up the papacy, and they think Ratzinger might be the Pope. They're very confused. And that's because they haven't studied their history, they haven't read the canon law, they haven't read the Vatican II documents. I have. So if you want the Cliff's Notes, video number 1 and video number 2 on this channel. You know, video number 1 is the original thesis, and video number 2 is the response to some pissed off Catholics. That's all you gotta know, really, and don't take my word for it. Check what I say. Check the books that I mention, check the stuff that I talk about. I have not had one logical argument to my points, and I have not seen a logical argument to those points. Not a single one. Not a legal argument, not a logical argument, not a reasoned argument. All I've seen are emoting people who cannot handle the truth. They scream like little girls lost. Well, I'm not a little girl, so it doesn't affect me. So yeah, I think the future is Catholic and Orthodox. That's it. And the Catholics are less now. There's less of us in number, but we're out there. And they're a bit lost and they're a bit disorganized. But mark my words, once Catholics get organized, there's no stopping them. You know, they don't quit, and they carry on. Read up. If you want to read some brilliant books, some astonishing books that are real, that are historical, that are true, they're not fiction, they're not fake news, they're not a movie, and it's better than any film. Pick up The Crusades by Harold Lamb. It's called The Crusades of Iron Men and Saints by Harold Lamb. It was written in 1930. It's thoroughly researched with original documents from both sides of the conflict. And once you've read that, you will understand a little bit more what Christendom was, what Christianity is, and what being a Catholic means. And if that's not enough, then read The Great Siege of 1565, the Siege of Malta. I've got a video, something like about a dozen or so book recommendations. Go and read there. And one guy in the comments of that video actually listed out all the books I talk about. And there is that book about the Siege of Malta. Again, astonishing. Le Valette is a personal hero of mine. I wish to emulate that man as much as I can, because he was the king, he was the chief, the leader of the Knights of Malta when they were under siege. And at age 82, in full armor, without his helmet and wounded in the leg, he fought on the walls all day just to inspire his men. At 82 years old, okay, swinging his sword in full armor. And his men were imploring him to get off the wall because he was their leader and he was already badly wounded in the leg. And he stood there, age 82, swinging his sword. And then when the Muslims crucified and killed and beheaded the prisoners that they had, Le Valette, which shocked the other Catholics, shocked the other knights. Some of the other knights were like shocked by this. Le Valette took all the Muslim prisoners that they had them beheaded, loaded their heads in a cannon, and fired their heads into the enemy camp. It's a man after my own heart. Like I said, I can only aspire to be that kind of guy at 82, you know? So that's a Catholic. Now, if you don't know that, and I understand why you wouldn't know that, because none of us who are less than 70 or 80 years old, and you know, even if you're 70, you were 10 years old then, you'd have to be 90 years old and compos mentis to truly understand what the Catholic Church used to be. So you see this effeminate, you know, homosexual priests and predators and pedophiles, and you see it in the news all day, and that's all you got, you know, 300 priests abusing kids in just one diocese, you know. It's disgusting. And you sort of think, I want nothing to do with that. Oh, of course you don't. Of course you don't want anything to do with that. But that's not the Catholic Church. That's the Novus Orco. The new orcs have taken the banner of the Catholic Church and called themselves Catholics. You know, it would be like me running around saying that I'm a pygmy. I'm a pygmy from the Congo. Why do you believe me? You know, because the only reason you'd believe me is because you haven't got a clue what a pygmy is. Well, maybe you should read up. Find out what a Catholic is. Do a bit of reading. It's good for you. You know, watching videos is fine, but the reason I'm doing the videos is because people don't read books. Read. The Crusades of Iron Men and Saints. If you only read one book in your life, read that book. Okay? I've read thousands of books. I'm not exaggerating. I have read thousands of books. At the age of 16, I was in England. I didn't really like England. I was reading on average 3 books a week. I was reading full books, about 3 of them a week. And I was going to school and I was swimming. I had nothing else to do. No social life to speak of because I didn't get on with the people. I grew up in Africa and I thought it's better I stay indoors. Otherwise I'm going to end up in jail if I'm out here. If I respond naturally to what some of these people do and how they talk and what they say. So I have read thousands of books. I have left crates and crates of books all over the world whenever I've moved. And I've moved 52 times. And in a few days I'll be 50 years old. So, you know, when I lived in Venice for a bit, I sent my father just the reference books that I really want to keep no matter what. And I shipped 17 boxes of books. That was just the reference books I want to keep. No fiction in there, none, you know, that's just like reference stuff. And, I've just moved here. I've tried to get rid of as many books as possible, and it's full. The house is already getting filled. I'm going to run out of space. I'm going to need more shelves soon, somewhere. And they're not there for show. I read the books that I buy. So I've read thousands of books, and the Crusades and the Siege of Malta, 1565, I think it's called. Those two are probably on my top 10. Okay, Gorin no Sho, the Crusades, and the Siege of Malta. Probably, they're probably my top 10 books that I've ever read. So, if you're only going to read one book in your life, read that one. Read the Crusades of Iron Men and Saints. It gives you an overview of history also that you don't know, that you just don't know. You've been lied to. You've been lied to massively. I've also done a video on You've Been Lied To, Kurgan history. That's just part 1, and that's I could do 100 parts on that, but I'll do them as I get there. Anyway, so again, just a little recap. Thank you, Owen, for giving me a shout out. It's very much appreciated. Thank you, bears. Thank you, Mama Bear. Thank you, Coddington Bear. Thank you, the other bears that are working behind the scenes on many things. And again, just so you know, the name the Kurgan, I didn't pick it. That was given to me. It's like Vox is a Red Indian, and the Dread Ilk kind of follow Vox, and I guess it's a Red Indian thing. The tribe has to name you. Like none of us picked our names. Vox is known as the Supreme Dark Lord, because again, he took on the name. The Dread Ilk is because people that were reading Vox's blog were trying to insult him elsewhere and say, Vox Day and his Dread Ilk, and so we became the Dread Ilk. We'll take the name and make it ours. So, like I said, I'm called the Kurgan because of my sunny disposition and friendly personality, and conflict avoidance sort of attitude. Nah. We run at trains with our swords out. That's don't be afraid of anything, man. Not given to a spirit of fear. Now don't be stupid, but when I was doing karate, my attitude was, even if it's a train, you run at it with your eyes open, and if it's gonna splat you, well, you're not gonna blink. Then I learned Russian martial art, and I'm a bit smarter now. So if it's a train, run at it as much as you can, but right at the last minute, dodge, get on top of it, and blow out its engine. Cheat, do whatever you need to do to win. Just because you can't take him out the first time doesn't mean you can't take him out the second or the third or the 700th time. Do not be afraid of your enemies, and your enemies are all around you. Speak forthrightly. Do not hide your thoughts. These people rely on that. They rely on your fear and your shame to keep you quiet. It doesn't matter where you are, in your work environment, whatever. Vox is right. If you've got a family to feed and they don't get fired and whatever, but push that envelope, push it everywhere, because you know what? I do it all the time because I don't give a fuck. I know what I'm worth. I can, I've got a pretty decent setup right now where I'm getting a lot of my expenses paid for relatively little work, which gives me a bit more time to do some other things. So I don't make great money, but it's okay. It's enough to keep me going, to keep me alive. I'm not monetizing this on purpose. I don't need to. I don't want to. And the thing is, you can, because of that, I can pretty much speak my mind, and I don't have a lot. I'm pretty anti-fragile. Some people are not, so I understand that. But every time I've pushed that envelope, every time, somebody is like, you get this diversity, inclusivity, whatever, training seminars that some people try and force you to go to. And I make fun of that shit. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Fuck it. What are you going to do? Fire me? No, fire me. I've worked in companies where they had that stuff, and I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't fill it in. They were like, oh, but, nah, I'm freelance. I don't need to do that shit. And, Nothing's changed. And when you're like that, then people are like, oh yeah, they kind of confide in you, and they're like, oh yeah, that's right. And you very easily can see who are the people you should stay away from and who you can talk to like a normal person. Most people are normal. They're not on board to this like tranny library hour for kids. It's just wrong. So speak up and fight back. Fight back. So again, at the end of the year, just before December, we're having one of our priests come over, and we're gonna hire out a place somewhere, and we're gonna have questions and answers, and we're gonna try and invite people that are not from our church. The people from our church will be there because they also have questions. They also want to understand better. They also want to be properly catechized. And our priest will do that for one of the days. But one of the other days, I'm hoping it's going to be more of an open forum where we invite lapsed Catholics or lost Catholics or people who want to be Catholic but have been deceived, that kind of thing. So if you're in London, and I'm not just going to open it up to anybody because there's going to be infiltration and whatever, and we want to avoid that. But so you would have to come to our church, get to know us. This time we're in August. This is only going to happen in December. So if you're interested and you're in London, or you're going to be in London at that time, just before Christmas, a few days before Christmas, say from the 20th on, then and you're interested, let me know. Find out. I'll let you know where you can attend church. I'll let you know where you can go. And we're going to network. That's what Catholics are going to do. We're starting to get organized. So we're not going to believe you online. Nah, not good enough. We're going to see you face to face. We're going to know your name. We're going to know who you are. We're going to know where you live. Your kids are going to play with our kids. So if you're an infiltrator, we'll soon find out, And that's how we're going to do it. That's how it's going to be done. And that's why I'm very strong on be Catholic or go home, And I said, with the exceptions, don't be a binary thinker. Understand. Dave is welcome in my house anytime. Jay, the same. These are guys I know are good, honest, real men. Christians, the fact that they're completely wrong, because one guy can't read, the other guy doesn't want to shave, whatever. One guy can't wear shoelaces, I get it, but it doesn't matter. They're my buddies. At the same time, you got to keep that thing pure. You got to keep that stuff clean, I mean, I was just talking with another friend of mine who, he gets very upset with me. Apparently, I'm very annoying for him whenever we talk anything theological. And he's sworn off arguing theology with me for 10 years. He said, I'm not going to argue theology with you for 10 years. Then he forgets himself sometimes. But, but he's a good guy. I really like him. And he's a Calvinist, I mean, he's way wrong. But he's honest and he's a truth seeker. And God has a sense of humor. So eventually I will be welcoming him into the Catholic Church. And I've just realized that the other alternative he's got is to go Orthodox. But if he goes Orthodox, he has to go for the Russian Orthodox. And because of his nationality and so on, he's got a real problem with Russians. So it just goes to show whichever way he goes, God really does have a sense of humor. And I mean, he picked me, and there's nothing funnier than that, because really, of all the religions that I'd looked at before I had my road to Damascus moment, Catholicism was the last on the list, man. And, now I'm a hardcore Catholic. And this guy's the same, he hates the Roman Catholic Church is evil, blah, 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 blah. Just a matter of time, man. Just a matter of time. Don't worry. I'll be here to help you along in your new journey when you join us. So yeah, go out there, evangelize, read up on the Crusades, become a good, real Catholic that rejects everything even remotely connected to Vatican II. Reject Vatican II in toto. And do not listen to their fake priests. If you're going to be validly ordained as a priest, you have to reject all of Vatican II. And if you are not ordained by a valid priest, then you should get, ordained by a proper priest, a real bishop. And we have them, there are real bishops still left. So It's not a big deal. You can do it, but you have to be honest. You have to be true. And it's going to be hard, because you don't have the support of the whole infrastructure that got overtaken by the Satanists, by the Novus Orchians. But you will have the support of real human beings. So if you're a real priest, a guy like Vigano. Vigano came out and denounced Bergoglio and all his pedophilic congregations. I don't know about Vigano. I don't know when he was ordained. I don't know why he stuck around and kept quiet this long. Is he ignorant? Does he not know about Vatican II? Who knows? Guys like that are... But remember, the rule of the Catholic Church is if you're not sure, leave it alone. If you're not sure, assume that's corrupt. And that's my take on all these priests and all the Catholics who do not specifically outright say Vatican II is heretic. End of. And, again, words matter. Things matter. So don't say, I'm a sedevacantist. Then you're an idiot. Sedevacantist means empty chair. The chair is not empty. It's filled with an imposter. So correct terminology for Catholics now is sedeprivationist. We believe the chair is filled with an imposter, preventing the real Pope from being elected. That's what sedeprivationist means. It means the chair is prevented from being filled by a liar, by an imposter. Bergoglio, the blasphemer, the protector of pedophiles, the vicar of child molesters on earth. What's George Maria Bergoglio? That's him. Anyway, that's my little rant over. And again, welcome to all the new subscribers. Thank you very much. And thanks for joining the Immortals. Fox has got his VFM. Owen's got his Bears. I'm the Kurgan. So I've got the Immortals. Have a good evening.